big when I really, even when I just wanted to get my products paid for, it was a really significant reason for me. Because I knew either I got my products paid for and I kept using the products, or I didn't get my products paid for and I had to cut back on what I was ordering. So for me, it became, you're going to school full time and you're working still full time. So it was every free moment I had that I was not in school or I was not at work, I was building my business. I was reaching out to people. So it wasn't to me like, okay, I reached out to my 3 people, so now I'm going to put the TV on and kick my feet up. Like, I was in constant action. And I'll be completely honest with you, I was doing it probably like, it's a little embarrassing when I go back and I look at the messages that I was sending people, and I have conversations with my friends from like back in that time, or my brother. Like, I'll never forget him calling me one day and he was like, he's my biggest supporter, has always been my biggest champion, but he said to me, can you do me a favor? And I was like, well, of course I can do you a favor. He's like, please stop bothering my friends. And I was like, oh, I'm not bothering them. I'm offering them up an opportunity. He's like, no, just please stop. Like, please stop calling them. Because I was just sending these massive inboxes, and we were getting a Hurricane Sandy was hitting, and I was sending like literally just these mass inboxes to people. And just, it was crazy what I was doing, but I was still in action. And I think that's the difference between what I see people doing sometimes now versus what I was doing then. And I was just reading Grant Cardone's book, and I'm probably going to screw up his quote but I thought it was really powerful. It was the 10X rule. And he basically said, like, the problem right now isn't anything more than like obscurity. People don't know what you're doing. If you look at Hollywood, there's a lot of not very good actors in Hollywood who are making really amazing incomes. The problem isn't that there's not enough actors. It's that they don't know you're out there, essentially. And I hope this is making sense. And like I said, Grant Cardone says it way better. But I was earning money being terrible. And my recommendation is not to be as terrible as I was for probably as long as I was, but it's to be out there and to be in action. Because if you're willing to fall down and make mistakes and say the wrong thing and embarrass yourself a little bit and get those phone calls from your brother or your family or your friends and get blocked on Facebook, you're going to get better, because you're just going to go through the motions. But I think most people are so afraid to say the wrong thing that they end up just staring at Facebook for like 8 hours a day. And they're like, well, I don't understand why my inbox isn't blowing up. And I don't understand why my friend just joined somebody else. And the problem is because people don't know you're doing it. And my thing, everybody knew I was doing it. I made it known that I was doing it. It wasn't a secret. So like I said, I completely butchered that quote. But if you listen to Grant Cardone's The 10X Rule, you'll get where I was going with it. And hopefully I explained it well enough.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. You did well. What kind of advice would you give to yourself in hindsight? Like that girl who was building, who was getting blocked on Facebook, who was sending mass inboxes. What would you say to her?
It's a great question. I would say fall in love with the journey, because there's never a destination. Because we get so caught up in that next rank advancement, that next level, and all of a sudden, like, you get there and like it's cool, like there's a celebration for like a minute and someone like throws you a post on Facebook and you're so quick to go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. And if you don't really fall in love with the journey, then what's it all about? And at the same time, like, and I truly believe this is the struggles that we go through, because I'm not gonna lie, like, at least for me, this was not like a straight shoot to millionaire. It had a lot of wall kicking moments, a lot of challenges, a lot of tears. Like, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure everyone's familiar with Tara Romano. She's truly like my best friend. That we've had lots of conversations of like, one of us is crying. Thankfully, we're rarely crying at the same time, but calling each other and just going through this process together. And I truly believe like every challenge, every wall kicking moment, all of those things happened because someone on my team is going to go through it, or someone is going to go through it. And I have to know how to handle it. And I have to be able to reach down and say, like, I totally get it. I've been there too. If I haven't gone through it, I don't know how to say that to someone. I can't say I've been there when I haven't. I can't say, like, I know what it's like when you've talked to someone and they join another company. I can't have that conversation the same way. So I think knowing that, like, you're not special when it happens to all of us. Like, you're not special when someone doesn't answer the phone for an appointment. You're not special when somebody joins someone else. You're not special when someone ignores your message. You're not special when someone blocks you on Facebook. You're not special. It's just normal. That's what happens to everybody. And I can promise you, like, we think it stops happening at some level or some point, and we think like, oh, when I'm making this much income or when I have a team this big, it stops happening. I promise you it still happens to this day. Like, it still happens. You just get much more comfortable with it, because I think that your confidence and your level of belief and your posture is just a different level of unbreakable, essentially.
Mm-hmm. I think that's so important to just have that kind of empathy that we can say, like, I have been there, you know, and that's how you're going to build your team, because that's trust and that's your relationships and really getting through those moments together. That's super awesome. How do you set up a new associate? What is your process?
So if someone is, what do you mean? If they're just getting started on the products?
Yeah, like if somebody, like, you know, you're starting somebody with a 30-day system, like, do you do the new associate interview or like welcome emails? What is your system with them?
So when we get them started, we always send them a welcome email. We plug them into our private cleanse group. We always welcome them on, so if I'm enrolling someone, I'm always going to welcome them on my personal page. A lot of people are really private, and I totally respect that. So if someone doesn't want to be tagged on my personal page, it's totally okay. What I'll do is I'll say, like, if it's someone from high school, I'm so excited. I went to Thompson High School North. So excited to welcome another TRN graduate to the program, just to get some curiosity. That's not necessarily for them. That's really for me. And so people can start to see that. So people are like, oh my goodness, how is another person from high school joining her? We always send the welcome email. We always CC 2 levels above us. So for me, my 2 levels are Tara and Alexis, because Tara enrolled me, Alexis enrolled her. And then they're always plugged into the private cleanse group, and they're supported that way. And then we really do what we learned through Susan Sly's call, because we've always gotten on her Monday night call when we walk someone through their back office and I show them their tray. And I always say, like, you know, this is your tray. You have essentially, like, you're going to get results. You're going to get them really quickly. You have 3 options. You can always give me the referrals. I'm so, so grateful for them. I built my business off of referrals. I can show you how to get your products paid for, or I can show you how to really build an additional stream of income. Where is it you see yourself right now? And I just let them answer that question. And then I let it continue to be a talking point from there, essentially. And I let them really make that decision.
Do you do like day 5 calls, or is there a certain process? What days do you check in with people?
So I walk them through their box when they get it. I want to make sure they really understand it, because it's a big box and it can be overwhelming. And I know some people don't coach a new cleanser and some people do, and I totally get it. It's a prerogative type thing. It's a big box, in my opinion. So I want people to really understand it. So totally, I get on the phone with them when they get their box and I walk them through their box. We set up, this is what your shake days are going to look like. I'll text them, how's day 1 going? Okay, you got all that, you're good, awesome. Always get back on the phone with them before they cleanse, go over their cleanse days. Then it's just pretty much mostly texting. Sometimes we'll get back on the phone. I'll always get back on the phone with them and go over their auto ship with them again, make sure they understand their account, how to change it, edit it, move it, that sort of thing, and make them really responsible for it. Because at the end of the day, I want them to be completely independent of me. But I also want to make sure that I set them up so they understand it, because I don't want a phone call at any point getting yelled at because they didn't understand how to really navigate their account and their back office. But yeah, I totally I'm checking on people continuously throughout that first 30 days for sure. Not every single day, because at the same time, it's not that hard, right? Like if someone really wants to do the program, they're going to do the program. And then we use Dr. Ina's call all the time. It's amazing. I think you guys have access to that in Canada.
Yeah,
right?
we do.
Yeah. She's amazing. I'm such a groupie of Dr. Ina. I absolutely just adore her. It's a great training call just when you're new, or even if you're not new, to get on and just listen to her answer people's questions. And I plug people into it constantly. And it's just another great resource to help people out. So I believe in really coaching people during that initial month, just to help them have an amazing experience, because I had an amazing first month and it helped me really become loyal to Isagenix.
So how do you get your teammates to events? Like, I know for you, it was like a non-negotiable thing. Like you just said, I have to go. But how is it like that you inspire the rest of your team to come to like a Wellness Wednesday, or, you know, even to the bigger events or Super Saturday? What is it that drives them to come with you?
I think part of it, and I would have to credit Alexis Romano and the culture I think she's really created amongst our entire team, that we just have a culture of events. And if you ask me how we created it, I think it was when we started, it was just me, Tara, and Alexis. So Alexis was building way before Tara and Tara and I just kept going because like we didn't understand that there was an option anyway, I think. And we just started to create a culture of like, it's fun, it's exciting. We're always recognizing people. We're personally reaching out to them. We're personally inviting people. And it almost becomes, if you're not there, you're missing out. And I wish that I had like a really good answer for that question because I feel like I get asked it a lot. And I feel like it's almost just become like a part of our culture. Like it's a thing we do. I was just with a friend before and he said, you're going to be at New Year's kickoff. He's not even on my team, but I was like, you're going to be at New Year's kickoff, right? Like it's almost like it's not an option. Like it's just somewhere you have to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like just the posture I take with most things. Like I don't understand if you're not going. It doesn't compute in my mind if you tell me no.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. I'm going to ask you one more question before I open it up to everybody else on this call. How do you share your vision and what is your vision? What do you see, you know, a year down the road, 5 years down the road?
I ask people questions to share my vision because what I've started to learn is that as much as I have a vision for myself and my life and my team, it's not so important. It's what's really important is the person I'm talking to and what their vision looks like. Because if I was talking to Alexis and she's a certified health coach and if she wanted to tell me about certified health coaches and her vision to free certified health coaches who can't find clients, it wouldn't have connected with me because that's not me, right? But because she could ask me questions and be like, oh my goodness, you're this struggling bartender who can't find her passion and you're really passionate about like your generation. At the time I was 28 years old, which I was, she was able to help me connect with what it was that I was looking for. So I make more of an effort, not so much to share what I'm passionate about, but to help the person that I'm talking to get really clear on what they're passionate about. And then help them see that this can be that vehicle for them if they choose for it to be. And then as far as like, what's my vision right now, it really is like the START movement. It's to really show young people that there can be a different way because I truly feel so grateful to have grown up with a father in my house who always said that you should love what you do every day. And you don't have to go to work every day miserable and unhappy and struggling. And I had this role model that really loved it. And I truly have seen it from such a young age. And I feel like a lot of us went through this system of feeling like you're supposed to go to college and get a job and have this cookie cutter life. And I feel like what Isagenix has given me at a very young age in comparison to a lot of people is the opportunity to not have to live a cookie cutter life. And I want to give that same opportunity to other young people that are really looking for it because not everybody is. But for those that are, I want to be that liaison essentially to those people.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I feel like I could ask you a million questions, but I am going to open this up. Thank you so much for letting me ask you. And if is there anybody on here that has a question that wants to unmute themselves?
I'll jump out. Ciji, thank you so much.
Of course.
I love you from the first minute I met you, and I just love how real and how candid and just how genuine you are because you're just never been a no bullcrap girl, but you're just so sincere and so genuine, and I just appreciate that so much. So thank you. You've given us such great nuggets. One of my questions is I always love, you know, especially with this age group, is I know that you were able, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that you were able to clear up a big student debt that you had with one of your bonus checks or with an accumulative, you know, some bonus earnings or something like that. And I'd love for these guys to imagine if you sort of took your largest bill or a debt that you have or something. Ciji, if you could please share that story just to inspire the crew on the phone here as to what's possible.
Yeah, for me, like it was my grad school and I don't remember how much it was. And it was like one of those things that was so silly that like when I finished grad school, I knew I was going to have student loan debt. And it was like, you know, you set yourself up on like whatever the least amount you have to pay every month is because I didn't know where I was going to be when I finished grad school in Isagenix. I think I finished grad school right around, I think I had just hit 2 stars. So I was making a good income, but I certainly wasn't like swinging from the ceilings, like able to pay for anything I ever wanted. And I left my bartending job right around that same time. So Isagenix was my sole source of income. So I was not paying anything above the minimum for my student loans. And about a year later, I think I was like around a 6 star. And I logged into Sally Mae and I looked at it and I was like, I don't understand why I keep paying this bill and like it keeps going up, the amount that I owe. And that's when I realized like, oh, this does not make any sense, and it's not supposed to, because I'm getting ripped off, because that's the way this works. And that's when I was like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like I looked at my account and I was like, I can afford to pay this off in full. And I called them and I just said, I want to, like, I'm good. I'm paying this off. Like, I'm done. And it was such an empowering feeling to know, like, at 30 years old, I was completely free of debt, especially now when I talk to friends who are crippled by, and I never had the amount that a lot of my friends have, because a lot of them went to like those really big schools and really, I mean, like, are in such debt from student loans that it's just mind blowing. But it was just such a freeing, empowering feeling to know, like, you really can do it. And I will share this story because this was not from me, but when Tara and I essentially both started building this business together, and it's so amazing to do it with someone that like you are so close to, and her business started taking off significantly before mine. And I was not even a 1 star yet. I was probably at like the lowest point in my life as I was building my Isagenix business, just about a year in, just struggling with a lot of things. And like at that point where you're like, is this ever going to work? Hurricane Sandy had just hit. I didn't even know if the bar that I was working in was still standing, or like if I was going to even really have a job, what tourism was going to be like. Things were not going well in my life. And I had just walked into a spin class. I think it was like February 2012. And I sat down on the bike and my phone rang, and it was Tara. And I forwarded it because I was like, I'll just call her back after. And it rang again and it was Tara. And I forwarded it again and it rang again and it was Tara. So I was like, I need to answer this call. Like, something might be wrong. And I answered it and she was like, you are never going to believe who just called me. And I said, who? And she said, Kathy Coover. I just made $17,000 in the bonus. Well, I'm actually like tearing up a little bit saying this. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, this is my best friend who, like, we bartended together. And you're like, this happens to those weird people you read about on ISA FYI. Like, this doesn't happen to the people that we know, like regular people. And it was one of those moments that you're like, oh my goodness, this is real. And this is happening to people that I know. And it was also one of those moments that I was like, all right, you need to get it together, because this is going to start to happen and you don't want to be left behind. It was one of the most powerful moments, and it didn't even happen to me, that you started to see, like, this isn't just those people that you hear on like the leadership calls or that you see in the magazines. Like, this is somebody I know so well, who was literally like shaking in tears as she was like telling me the story on the phone. It was so powerful. So that, I mean, like, yeah, like it's one of my favorite stories because I'll never forget it.
That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. I got choked.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Hey guys, anyone want to jump out? We have Ciji here with us. Felicia does.
So my question is, like, I know you said you like text and communicate with the people you enroll, but how do you keep your retention up? Because I noticed like a lot of people, not just on my team, but on like my downline, they have a really hard time with retention. So I'm really looking at improving that.
It's a constant conversation, and one of it is really like going over their auto ship with them and having that conversation about the lifestyle, I think, of Isagenix from the initial conversation. So it's in the questions that I ask people before they even get started. Tell me what your goals are. Tell me what like your lifestyle looks like right now. Okay, you want to lose 30 pounds. Like, when was the last time that you were a size 8? What did that feel like? What's happened in your life since then? Like, really getting them back to what that felt like. How would it feel to be that size again? Whatever the case is, getting them back to that place, helping them see that it really is a lifestyle, essentially. And even when we talk about auto ship, saying like, I want you to know, like, this is not a quick fix. I'm always really clear with people on that. Like, I think you can do anything for 30 days and get a result. You can probably eat McDonald's for 30 days. And if you do it strategically, you can probably lose weight if you wanted to. Can you feel good? Probably not. Can you sustain it? Absolutely not. Like you just, right? Like you can cut calories and probably lose weight, but that's not what Isagenix is. Isagenix is really like a nutritional lifestyle that's meant to be a lifestyle. So it's helping people see that initially from the beginning and then helping them transition into maintenance when they reach their goal. So that's what it comes down to. The IsaBody Challenge is amazing. So it's having that conversation with people. Again, when I walk them through their account in their back office, just showing them where it is and saying to them, this is amazing. And I always tell them the story. We have a girl on our team. She actually started the IsaBody Challenge when she was 3 months pregnant. She finished it when she was 7 months pregnant. She loved taking her pictures every couple months. As she got bigger, she still got her $200 like in products. You always can go through that process as many times as you want. It just shows people like it's here for you as long as you're willing to continue with it and create the lifestyle with it. Does that make sense? But I'll tell people, like, if you're just going to do this for 30 days, like, I got to be honest, I don't recommend that.
Okay.
I have a question. So thank you so much for sharing, by the way. So I know that it was like, it took you a really long time to kind of see the vision and want to start to share. And I know that it does with most people, but how do you inspire people to start sharing, just initially?
I have a conversation with them about what it is that they want, because I've learned that like what I see for them isn't necessarily what they see for themselves. And it's understanding too that it's so much about timing. And that's a hard, I think, lesson to learn sometimes, because we see it so strongly for other people and we want them to see it when we see it. And I just said, my friend that I've been talking to, literally, I went to prom with him when we were 17. We were just talking about it the other day. He's like, I need to know, like, how much did you make in your first year and this and that and the other thing. And he's a very good friend. So I was honest and I said, this is what I did. It doesn't mean it's what you'll do, right? But we've been talking about it for 4 years. And this is at the same time he's telling me how miserable he is and how broke he is. And I want to wring his neck and just like, are you listening? Like, have you not been listening to me over the last 4 years? But I also understand he's going through his own journey. He's not going to be ready just because I said yes. And just because I want him to be ready. And one of the things I tell other people too is, one, I am the exception that like, I was ready just immediately with the products. I didn't even require like much of an exposure. I just was willing to say yes. A lot of people will require several exposures, or sometimes like from the day they hear about Isagenix till the day they say yes. What does it take? Sometimes a year, 2 years, 6 months, right? But then when we say yes, we want everybody to say yes that same day with us. And I always say, like, remember how long it took you to really get it. For me to see the opportunity in Isagenix, it took me 2 years. So I can't expect everybody to see it immediately. I have to understand it's going to take them as much time as they require. And sometimes it's a circumstance in their life that's going to make them see it. Sometimes it's timing or anything that could be going on. But it's meeting people where they are and just understanding that everyone has to go through their own journey and not making them wrong for it. Because sometimes I know for myself, like, I want them to see it so badly because we see it so much for them.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else want to unmute themselves and ask a question before we wrap up?
I have another one. Sorry, I'm hogging the spotlight. But so my question is, like, when people are using the products, how, like, and they're like, well, I'm interested in the business. How do you really get them, like, to that point? Like, what do you suggest they do? Like, I know they can make a post, but what's your recommendation? Like, how do you go about getting them really submerged in, like, the business and the culture?
I use a tool always. I love the START tools, the calls that a lot of the leaders in START have done, because I always think there's one that will resonate with anyone. So if you're looking for like a fitness instructor or a hairdresser or a bartender or a teacher, there's always going to be one that can connect with someone. And if there's not, I think Peter Kelly's is the go-to one. Also, Jason Liu's, I think, is really powerful because he has a great understanding of network marketing. But I use those a lot to help paint the picture because I think sometimes they can do a better job. And at the same time, like, we always want to be duplicatable, right? So I don't ever want to just try to be like vomiting all over somebody. Like, please see this. Do that for me in a much better way. And the thing is, too, if someone's not willing to listen to like a 20-minute call, they're not that serious about learning about Isagenix.
Does anyone else have anything that they want to ask? We have Ciji on the phone here. This is like a great opportunity. Okay, I'm going to jump in. Ciji, I would love to hear from you, raw and real. What has been your toughest hurdle yet? And how did you overcome it?
My biggest hurdle was I really struggled with the idea of like, I can't talk to fitness instructors because I'm not one, or I can't talk to people about the business because I'm not making any money. Stories like that really like kept me really stuck and really limited me in the people that I was willing to talk to. And it was in probably hundreds of conversations I had with Alexis Romano where she would constantly like beat into me, this is not about you. Once you stop making it about you and really make it about other people. And it's such a simple concept, but it was when like I really started to understand that at a cellular level, like this is not about me. This is about the impact it can have on somebody else, that my business really started to change.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you and I have both, personal growth is something that we've both invested in. We've both, trained with the same coach and put some time and effort. Plus we have such amazing leaders in Isagenix and such a great opportunity to grow ourselves personally. So how much of a factor is that, and how much do you put time into that on a regular basis?
Oh my goodness, every day I was like truly a miserable bartender when I say that, like, I didn't smile. I would have rather made no money than like actually have to talk to anybody that came into the bar because I was just so unhappy. And I was so unhappy that it just became like normal. It wasn't like nobody even questioned it anymore because it just became who I was. And it was working with a coach. It was reading a lot of books. It was listening to a lot of podcasts, not at the expense of not doing anything else and taking action. I think sometimes people get confused with like doing a lot of personal development and not taking any action. But it was doing those things on a consistent basis in conjunction with taking action. And I actually had a conversation with Alexis recently. And I said, like, I was a challenge in the beginning in a sense that my mindset was certainly not where it is right now. I started very, 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 like really just a very struggling mentality is the best way I could put it. And I said to her, thankfully, she didn't know how to qualify people in the beginning because I probably wasn't qualified. But I said, why did you invest so much time in me when I was where I was mentally? And she said, because you didn't quit. You were willing to do anything. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And that was really helpful because I think sometimes we work with people who don't have a great mindset and don't have a great attitude and are not willing to do everything. And then we work with people who have a great mind or don't have a great mind, willing to do whatever it takes. And I'm always willing to do whatever it takes for those people who are willing to do whatever it takes.
That's super awesome. I learned so much from you. I want to be respectful of everybody's time on here, and for everybody that's come out to our call tonight, because it is Thanksgiving. So I know that there's probably a million other things that you guys all could be doing, but you chose to come on here, and that's because you guys are, and we are all the people who are willing to do what it takes. So I think that's really valuable, Ciji. Thank you so much for that. I just want to go over a couple things before we wrap up this call. Every Sunday night at 8 o'clock, we have this Start Canada call. So jump on, bring teammates. We will be doing it same place, same time. And we will be able to access this video on the YouTube channel by midnight tonight. So it's Start Canada YouTube channel. And with that, I think that's it. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And we will see you guys all next Sunday night.
Before we sign off, let's just do a group picture. And Ciji, thank you so much, Ciji, for your time. And Felicia, thanks for your incredible share. You beautiful women were both amazing. Okay, you guys, open up your vids. Let's get a pic here of your gorgeous faces. All right, you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll do one more just for good luck. Awesome. Okay, 1, 2. Oh, someone started sharing their screen. Sarah, can you just turn off your screen share?
That could have turned out bad.
It could have been, depending on what was on the screen. There we go. Okay, you guys rock. Thank you so much. Ciji and Felicia, thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye. Love you guys.